Bang bang Niner gang. What's up everybody? How's everybody doing today? It's your boy Niner Beto, aka Niner Sickness, coming to you live. It's been a minute since I did a live on here. I just want to welcome everybody to the show, to the Niner Sickness podcast show. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone is having a good time. Let me invite some people in here real quick. Paul, still, how you doing? How you doing, Paul? Welcome to the show, brother. We're going to talk about some 49er football, some news on Eric Armstead, some news on our fullback, and we're going to just enjoy ourselves for a little bit and talk some football. How's everybody doing? Everybody that is coming in, welcome, Daniel. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Let me just invite some people in real quick. Give me 1 second. Um, there we go. Boom, boom. Okay. Give me 1 second. Whenever you can join. All right, guys, give me a second, real quick. I'm inviting a couple of people. I'm great. You're doing great, Paul. What's up, Daniel? Bang bang, Niner gang. That's it, brother. That's it. It has been a minute since I've done a show, and I am looking forward on talking some football, man. I am looking forward talking some football, and I'm trying to bring my boy Michael in here so that he can join me as well. And we can talk just some football. What's up, James? Welcome to the show, brother. It's been a minute. And as you guys already heard or might have not heard, we went ahead and signed and we gave our fullback an extension. So, or we cover their 5th year extension, something like that. I got to look into it again. But um, man, you guys are faithful. What's up, Ismael Ortiz? Oh, there comes my boy. Hold on, real quick. Let me bring in my boy. Let me get rid of this. Give me 1 second, gentlemen. I'm gonna bring my boy Nathaniel in, aka the Boston Hater. He'll be popping in, bringing him in. What's up, Mister Boston Hater himself, Nathaniel? How you doing, brother?
How's it going, man?
Doing good, man. Just decided to do a show and have some fun, talk some football. We extended our fullback. You're one of your guys. Which I should think it would make me happy. Now we're waiting on the situation with Eric Armstead. So just wanted to, midweek football, wanted to talk some football as everybody's charming in. How's everybody doing? Everybody in the comments, put down where you're from.
Yeah.
Let us know where you're from, where you're viewing us from. Say hi to the audience there, Mr. Boston Hater.
Hello, everybody. Get out, Niner faithful. Good to see you. Uh, hey, so you said the Eric Armstead issue, huh? Where do you stand on that? How do you feel?
Well, as you guys know, I'm a big Eric Armstead fan. I like him because he's versatile. We can use him as a pass rusher. We can use him as a D tackle for the run game. But
Oh, it's the other
if
way
he's
around.
or the other way around. But
Yeah.
if he is asking for way too much, then anybody's replaceable. Unfortunately, in football, I don't want to tie in too much. If he's able to work with us a good deal where it's not going to harm us in the future, then I am all for keeping him on the roster. But if he's going to try to use his leverage on the one good year that he had, and this is where we all got to remember, yes, he's versatile, but 2019 has been his best year. Now, can he duplicate that? Maybe, maybe not. So he hasn't been consistent enough for me to sit there and say, you know what, let's break the bank on him. So if he's willing to give us not a discount, but a fair play contract, and Parag can work with him where it benefits him and the 49ers, then I'm good with it. If not, then there's a couple of people that I like in the draft. They can definitely come in and replace them. And we have some internal guys that we can use as well. So, what's your thoughts on Eric Armstead?
In a perfect world, I like the idea of tag and trade, and if I could choose who I trade him to, It was the number 36.
Really
Yes.
interesting. I'm just reviewing people that are letting us whether from Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. Welcome, James.
Yeah.
Deborah's from New York,
I guess.
Las Vegas,
I,
Nevada.
I okay. Yeah.
The-
I guess my reason being is I don't think that Armstead is worth the money that we're gonna have to put on him. So I feel like he's not gonna agree to anything that's worth our while. And so I think the franchise tag is gonna come his way. And at that point, San Diego has a bunch of money, over $50 million under the cap. And, he fits their system. He's a player that they could use and he could flourish in their system because it's similar to ours. And, they can pay him what he's looking for. And out of that, we can get a high second round draft pick. And maybe they might want to try to poach us for one of our fifths in that process. And I'm okay with that. But I don't. I don't believe that he's going to come at a price that makes it worth our while.
okay, now if we French tag him, depending what tag we use on him, doesn't a team have to give us a first round for him?
No, just like when we got D Ford last year when he was franchise tagged, you
Oh,
can
that's
go.
right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
you can go and make a deal for him. And what Kansas City basically said to us is, well, more than likely, if we just let him go and he would have went to free agency, we could have got a third round pick next year. So we just need you to do better than a third round pick. And so we said, okay, next year, second. And they said, sold. It was pretty easy the way it went.
Okay, so on the franchise tag, so it's just basically on both teams just agreeing on terms of what
Yes.
they want to part with. So it's not always necessarily a first round demand. It's just a matter of the two teams talking. Like in this case, the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, they both worked out a second round pick for
Yes.
people. They could have asked for a one, but they took a two.
Yeah.
And so they were able to negotiate that, and that's where their
Yeah.
two comes in. Okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't have got that one, but
Oh, no, not at least not from us.
yeah.
I don't know from anybody else, but
yeah, perhaps, but yeah, they weren't getting it from us.
real quick, just to stay on the topic of our boy that we picked up from Kansas City. What's your thoughts so far for what you've seen? Is it worth the trade or not, in your opinion?
Absolutely. The only problem that we have is that, he had that knee injury, which I heard that he had surgery. So
No, he doesn't want to have surgery.
yeah, but he's kind of in a position where if he doesn't have it, he's not going to improve. So I think he opted for the surgery. The reason why he was hurt was because he opted not for surgery last year because he thought that he could play through it. Because the year before he had the same issue and he played through it when he was in Kansas City. But that's obviously not the case now, and he's on a limited snap count because he's not totally 100% healthy. So it's looking like he I don't know that he had the surgery, but I heard something about him being scheduled for it, and I don't know if it happened or not. I'm not sure, but he definitely needs to have it.
Okay, yeah. I read I read during the season that he was going to have surgery in the off season.
Yes.
Then I read, and I got to look it over again. But then I read something that came out of the San Francisco saying that he didn't need it after all, and he was not gonna have it. Now I'm 100% on that. I would have to definitely go back but I know I read something about him not getting it this year after all, and was willing to be able to play. I even think if I'm not mistaken, John Lynch said it. But I got to go back into the archive and look at those just to confirm. Because I don't want to give anybody any false impression that he's not going to have it if he did have it. So I'll look into it. We'll come back and we'll report that to you guys. But I definitely agree with you, Nate. I think that was a great trade. Um, I'm not really feeling the Emmanuel Sanders with a third and fourth right now. I understand it was pivotal to get him last year, and I know he helped our rookie receivers a lot. He was great in the locker room, but um, I don't know. I just with all those receivers in the draft, man, I just wish we would have had that third and fourth round pick. I think those picks would have been nice. Talking about picks, and we'll talk a little bit about the free agency because that's what's coming up first. Do you think, in your opinion, that the Niners should trade, regardless of who is at 31, should they trade down and accumulate more picks? Or if there's a good pick of value, take it. Because how many people are going to fill the roster? We can only fill 53 people in the roster anyway.
This way, when you start drafting a bunch of people, when you got a team with the depth that this team has, it doesn't make sense to sit up and draft all these guys that can't even get on the roster.
They might not make the team. I agree. I agree.
So if you're gonna pick and there's a guy there that's for the picking, you take him. It's got to be somebody that you really high on, though. Other than that, you might want to try to spread that pick out for others. But that's another reason why I'm kind of high on the whole if you can trade Armstead for 36, it really frees you up to make those choices because I think that Armstead can be covered essentially by people we already have on the roster. They don't have to be as good as him. They just have to be good at their role. And we have people for that if they don't get hurt like they did this year. We could have done without him. And if you can get 31 and 36, that puts you in a much better position than you are currently with just the 31.
So if we trade him, so whoever we trade to, all we will be getting is 36 for him.
I'm just talking about specifically the Los Angeles Chargers.
Now, you're talking about that's what they said at 36. Okay.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that Dee Ford went for Kansas City second. I don't know if Armstead is worth what Dee Ford is worth. So that's why I'm sitting here with the whole. I'm not certain that you can get just 36. Like I said, they might want to fleece us for one of our fifth rounders, which, like I said, I'm not opposed to that. I'm looking at Ismail Ortiz talking about I'd rather we keep Armstead over Ford. That's not an option. Nobody, first of all, if you look at the difference maker that Ford is, you even had the defensive coordinators and say, what did he say? He said, Dee Ford unlocks our defense. We go from a good defense to a championship defense when Dee Ford is in the lineup. So just based on that alone, Dee Ford is a difference maker. Eric Armstead is a good player. He is not a difference maker. So,
and that's a key right there. You're absolutely right. Armstead is a very good player, diverse player, can play two positions, but he isn't a difference maker as is Dee Ford. And we have people got to remember too. Yes, we have a great. Sometimes when you have a lot, we get spoiled and we don't want to lose anybody. But when you still have Dee Ford and Nick Bosa on the sides, and then you have DJ Jones and Buckner in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like we're losing there. If we do lose Eric Armstead, that we're just gonna have nobody to rush the quarterback. You just got to remember we have Dee Ford, Nick Bosa is only going to get better. We have Buckner, which we already know is good, and I have a lot of confidence as long as he stays healthy. I'm a big fan of DJ Jones.
Sure.
I think he's a big monster in the middle. They can stop the block and go after the quarterback.
Yeah, and we have some other people we can throw into that position as well. That come on, 98 played really well there.
Ronald Blair III.
Yes. So when you talk about it, we have a multitude of players that can fill that gap. And I don't
Yeah.
think that it makes sense to spend 14, 15, 16, 18, 19.3 is the franchise tag on Eric Armstead. You cannot have a 65, $70 million defensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially when you
yeah.
have the Kittle in the back burner and Buckner.
Buckner. Buckner's
That
going to cost a ton.
and he,
In a couple of years, Bosa's going to cost a ton.
yeah,
D Ford's already pulling down about 17 plus. Yeah, you can't have another guy making that kind of money. It's too much.
yeah, I agree. Hold on, real quick. I got somebody. Go ahead and address the fans, brother. I got somebody texting me real quick. They want to join our show.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Essentially, and I saw another comment. Somebody said something about screw Brady, Jimmy G. I don't even know why that is a discussion. Who in the world wants a 43-year-old declining quarterback who, mind you, this year didn't play anywhere near as well as Jimmy? Ooh, and Jimmy is ascending. He is getting better. He improved over the year, and he's only in his first year in this system. But you want somebody who's got all this history. Well, guess what? His outstanding play is also history. Why would you want him? I don't understand it, but there's a lot of people talking about it, and I will. It's beyond me why it's even a discussion.
All the Tom Brady, yeah,
Yeah,
that's. I know a lot of Niner fans. You look at the legacy that Tom Brady has done. He's 6 Super Bowls, but I mean, I don't understand all the confusion or the mistrust with Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes, he towards the end of this year he wasn't that great, but if you look at the if you well in terms
no,
of stats
no,
for the playoff games, but
no, no.
overall
Matter
he
of
was
fact,
he
you were through 3.5 quarters. Look at his numbers through 3.5 quarters. 18 for 22, 195 yards, a touchdown and interception, over 100 passer rating. The man was not playing bad. And you
no,
know
and I
what?
agree,
And
but I'm
here's the
talking
bottom
about.
line.
Go ahead.
We're talking about it's a game of inches. You
Hmm.
had uh, a guy in I'm trying to think of the guy's name, 95 from Kansas City, the defensive tackle.
Or is it Jones too? Jones,
Um,
uh, the free agent, right?
no, the best guy on that defensive line. He's a tackle. He's interior. Chris Jones, is
Oh,
that his name?
Chris Jones. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Chris Jones.
Yeah. Anyway, this guy had batted down 3 passes in 14 games he played all year. Somehow, some way, he mysteriously, in a place where he got blocked to perfection on these plays, gets his hands on a couple of balls. If you look at those plays, the guy that Jimmy was throwing to on both plays was wide open, and those plays were going to be first down. All right, we're talking about things that, you know, can you really blame Jimmy for that? That stuff happens.
Yeah,
He was on point with those throws. If it wasn't for them batting them down, that's just dumb luck. I mean,
yeah.
let's not try to make it sound like he choked. I mean,
No, oh
he
no,
missed
no, no.
he missed on the deep pass. I'll give him that. He missed on that. That's on him. But
But
outside of that, come on.
think about it. His first year playing a full season, and he takes us to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And you know what? You got a 10-point lead with 7 minutes left. And
If Chris Jones wouldn't have batted, I mean, I know the what ifs, but if Chris Jones wouldn't
if
have
he
batted,
doesn't, they lose. That's simple. They
that ball was
lose.
heading. That ball was heading towards Kittle.
One
Kittle
of them
had
was
the open
Kittle,
field.
and it was a first down.
Yes, if
And you're
not
talking about
touchdown.
burning more minutes off the clock.
Yes, and
Yeah.
Chris Jones just made a good play on
Yeah.
that. He
Yeah.
made a good, and that's what he gets paid for.
And it's unfortunate, but it's not like Jimmy. Don't try to make it out like Jimmy was trash. I mean,
Exactly. I
that
mean,
that was one of
look,
those things. And the guy, look at him. He's like 4 yards off the line of scrimmage because our guys dominated him on that play. That's why Jones was even there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what I was looking at, Nate? I was looking at quarterbacks that had really good success this year, and I was looking at their touchdowns, interception ratios, looking at their stats. Jimmy was a top 7 quarterback this season, and for people to just and people got to realize, yes, he's been in the league for 6 seasons, but this is his first complete season playing a full season. He's only going to get better. He's going to get better. He's getting more comfortable. It's just there's so much upside to him. Where Tom Brady, even though he has won 6 Super Bowls, he's going downward. He's 43 years old. What are you going to do 2 years from what are you going to do in 2022? We're going to have to be looking for another quarterback, and then what? If we trade
and why
Jimmy,
I'm just past the why are they making it out like Jimmy's trash?
Yeah, that's a very questionable.
Yeah. And my thing is, why are you even talking about Tom Brady when that is not an upgrade? We're not getting Tom Brady 2015 or 2010. We're getting Tom Brady 2020. Yeah. He's not, just flat out, he's not better than Jimmy today.
No, he I mean, overall, he's a Hall of Famer. I give Tom Brady his respect, but Jimmy Garoppolo can easily take us to. I mean, he took us to a Super Bowl last year. It's not like we haven't been to a Super Bowl. We didn't win it, but we were 10 points ahead with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
And look at all of the things we had to overcome on top of that. All of the injury, I mean, it wasn't like it was a perfect season for him and it was tailor-made. We had a lot to overcome to get to that point. And that's what I think a lot of people are missing. We got that far in spite of all that happened to us. If we just have an easier season based on injury alone, our path overall might be easier to get there. It might
be. Absolutely. Real quick, just to keep on pace with our viewers and make sure that we answer their questions, let them know this show is about them. We had a question brought up. Let me find it again.
Jared McKinnon?
Yeah, let me bring it up. And he says, I think we should let McKinnon. Now, I know a lot of people want to let McKinnon go, and I'm okay with that. But if he restructures his contract where it's beneficial to us and we don't have to pay him or lose money on him like that, because if we have dead money with him already, I don't see why we shouldn't keep him, at least give him a shot, see if he makes the roster. But not under the contract that he's in now. He would have to restructure it where it's beneficial to us. If he does that, I'm okay with keeping him. If he doesn't, then he has to go look elsewhere. But if he's smart, he knows right now he has no value anywhere because he's been hurt for 2 years. The only place that he knows the system and can build up his credentials is with us. So if he's smart, he's better off staying with us than trying to go somewhere else because he's not going to get the money.
Okay. I got mixed emotions about this.
Okay.
Because first of all, I like what you're saying. And it makes sense. There's only this thing in the back of my mind that says, if he's injured, all he's doing is taking up a roster spot. He's in the way for the next guy.
Well, that's if he makes, but he would have to. I don't think he'll make the 53-man roster if he's not.
No,
but able to make it.
Maybe he's a step beyond where he was, where he's one of those guys that he gets out there, plays a couple of games. Oh, he's going to be down for 4 weeks, so we still have him on the 53, but he's inactive. I don't want to go through that with him, really. So I'm kind of on the fence about McKinnon. Either way, as long as the money is not hitting us, where we're able to do what we need to do with our free agents. And I think that if we keep Arik Armstead out of the loop, that we're going to be able to do what we need to do. I think that he is, his big number is going to be a hindrance to what we need to get done.
Got it. Real quick, we just had the pleasure of having our boy Florida Mike join us. Are you guys able to see each other and hear each other?
I see. Yes.
What's up? How you doing, Mike?
I can't hear Nate.
Oh, yeah. I hear him though.
You can hear him. How about you? Can't hear him, Mike?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna have to bring you come back in and see if we can clear that up.
All right.
So yeah, we'll wait for him to come back. But yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And then we have, give me a second, real quick. This is here. Ortiz is talking about the rookie receiver. I can't pronounce that name. What is how to pronounce it? Laviska.
Is that the Colorado boy?
Yeah.
Not feeling him. Not at all.
I know. A lot of Niner fans get a really when players talk about
wanting to be here. Yeah.
Yeah. Any player that is not. And listen, if you were on the combine and you want to be on an NFL team, I guarantee you, if you hate the Cowboys with a passion and yet the Cowboys have an opportunity to pick you up, you'll say, if I get the opportunity to be on the Cowboys, I'll be, every player is going to say that about a specific team because they want to be drafted to the NFL. Don't take it with a grain of salt that he wants to be with just a Niner. Or
well,
it's a perfect
the thing
fit.
is, he went out of his way to say he wanted to be on the Niners. So I understand why people feel that way. I just have watched him, and I'm not feeling him.
Hey, Mike, can you hear him now?
Yeah.
Can you hear? Okay, good. Mm-hmm. How's everybody? Real quick, I'm just going to bring in our third boy, Florida Mike. Mike, say hello to everybody that is in here.
What's going on Niner Empire? I'm just having some water. This ain't vodka. But I got my Niner cup while we're doing this show.
It's okay if it was, brother. You're over 21.
I'm saving that for Friday.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, so we were just talking to kind of fill you in. We're talking with everyone here. We're talking about the free agency, a little bit of draft, but more free agency. And we were in the topic of McKinnon, Jared McKinnon. If he restructures his contract, would he be worth staying on the roster? Nate was making a point where if he's not very durable, he's always getting hurt. If we put him on a 53 in week 3, week 4, he gets hurt and he's out for the season, he's just holding a spot that we can give to someone else that can benefit us for the whole season. Let me get your thoughts real quick on Jared McKinnon, on your thoughts about keeping him, or should we just let him go and cut our ties with him regardless if he restructures or not? We just cut our ties with him. What's your thoughts on him, Mike?
Well, first and foremost, man, thank you guys for having me on the show. Big shout out to all the Niner fans, and big shout out to the Orlando, Florida Niner chapter and the Germany chapter. I got to represent for the people back there too. So my thoughts on Jared McKinnon is simple. If we restructure his contract, it's got to make economic sense to benefit our team. If they can find a way to make economic sense to benefit our team, as far as his being durable and injury prone, I mean, we have a couple players like Jimmy Ward, Eric Armstead that were also injury prone, but when they were healthy, they played phenomenal. So I'm not a person I've learned to just allow somebody to be part of a team from the big picture, and anybody's a risk for injury. However, if McKinnon has been injury prone for the last couple of years, like I said, we had a couple players who were injury prone. So if we can restructure his contract to a point to where he's not getting a lot of money, where it's like a low risk, high reward situation, possibly, I don't care if we keep him, because at the end of the day, I mean, if he can produce and stay healthy, we don't know that he's going to get hurt. Just because he got hurt last couple of years, there's no guarantee. So, like I said, Eric Armstead and Jimmy Ward proving that they've been hurt for most of their career, but this last year, they both played really well.
Okay, good. That's a good thought on there. Let's see here. Deborah says, let's get Xavier McKinnon safety for our 31st pick. If he's still available. Well, a lot of people like him, and then like the Pitt, or I can't pronounce his name, from LSU.
Yes,
that kid.
The LSU guy, man, definitely.
I just heard the LSU guy can't tackle if he's not a good tackler. But every prospect has their areas they can work and improve in the NFL. I don't think nobody comes into the NFL unless you're like a Nick Bosa that is really NFL ready. So out of those two people, Xavier McKinney or Grant DePreet, I already know Nate likes the LSU guy. What
Yeah,
about
Brent
you,
Delpit is my guy.
Ray
Definitely.
Dalpit? What about you, Mike?
Honestly, I haven't. This is for a topic for another show. I haven't really been watching college football for personal reasons.
Okay,
I do watch my team, Florida State, so I can't really say who I prefer because I don't watch college football unless it's my team.
okay. I like. Okay. That's good. Let's see here. Let's moving on. So we were when we started the show, we started it with the idea, the notion that we signed or we extended our fullbacks juice fifth year option, or which is great for us. I mean, I wasn't a big fan. I'm still not a big fan of the fullback position, but he has won me over. He is a good asset for us. He does. Mike, did you fall?
Oh,
um,
you good? I got my
he
charger set up. Go ahead. I'm
Gotcha.
listening.
He does. He has done so much for us. Him and Kittle, man, with the blocking, it's phenomenal. I mean, those two guys when they block, it's just amazing to have him and Kittle see them in action. So I'm glad we signed him. I'm glad that we're moving from him right now. I've been hearing that the Niners and Eric Armstead are coming close to an agreement on an extension. Uh, I Nate said earlier about he's about signing him to French tag him and then trading him to the Chargers for the 36th pick in the second round, and then use that money that we will save on Armstead somewhere else, maybe potentially Buckner or Kittle next year. What's your thoughts on that, Mike? You think Eric Armstead is worth signing if we can get him for a good price, or should we just trade him and try to put that money somewhere else on the team?
I mean, man, ideally, I don't want to relieve most of our guys, if not all of them. Most of them, I don't want to. I don't want to leave, have any of them go if it was up to me. So, whatever we can do to keep Armstead, I'm all for that. But I don't want to do it at the expense of where we, going to have trouble and strain in keeping our core critical superstar players like a Buckner, or when we have to pay, Kittle, things like that. So, I trust the process, man. I mean, if we can, I'm sure we'll restructure. These guys do want to win. They know money's not everything. They were so close to winning, 6 minutes away from winning. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to want to come back and do what they can, to be part of this team going forward.
Good point. And I just want to clarify. There's a question by James Collins, and I know this question has been brought up. It has been brought up a lot by a lot of Niner fans. And I just, with all due respect, just bring clarity on this. And Nate, you can chime in afterwards, or Mike, on the situation with Joey Bosa coming to us next year. Keep in mind that that's as much as we in fantasy football and fantasy world, we would love to have the Bosa brothers play in the same team. It's just not something that can happen. Joey Bosa is if he leaves the Chargers, he's going to be looking for a big contract, a huge contract from the next team, and the Niners are not going to be in a position to offer him that. And as much as he wants to play with his younger brother Nick, he's not going to come to us at a cheap price just because he wants to play with his brother. As much as he wants to play for the Niners, any particular player at that age playing that well is going to look for that payday. So as much as we think it'll be nice to team him up, it's just will be impossible for Joey Bosa to be on the Niners. Just state on the money that he's going to be requiring next year, and we're definitely not going to be trading for him this year at all because we're not going to. There's just no way. So I just don't see it. I would like to get Nate's and Mike's opinion on that, but I just don't see. Not. I would love to have Joey, but in the real world, it won't happen financially. What's your guys'
Let's
thoughts?
let's put it this way. I see a way, but it would take some craziness on the part of the Chargers for that to happen. Basically, what they would have to do, oh, and also on Joey Bosa's for that matter, if you could find some way to package somebody like Ford in a like if they tag Bosa, and Bosa is willing to accept a deal similar to something that D Ford has, that is the only way that that can possibly happen. Now, that way it makes sense. if I'm the Chargers, my first thought is, why would I do that? But if Bosa doesn't want to be there, and perhaps maybe Ford is okay with it, then you end up with that scenario. Perhaps I don't really see it, but uh, if we're talking about ways that it could work, that's how it could work.
Now, real quick before I mention it, before I get Mike's information on this, you said about trading Eric Armstead to the Chargers for the 36th. What if we gave them Eric?
That doesn't work this year. Nope.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Not
I'm just throwing it out there for conversational points, but okay. Just throwing it out there. But okay, go ahead, Mike. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, adding talent like Joey Bosa would be phenomenal. However, the reality is, like you were saying, he's not going to want to come for dollar cents. Now, the question is, how bad does he want to play with his brother? And how bad does he want to be on a contending team? If those two factors supersede his perception from the public perception of his desire for a large pay scale check, then we have a shot. Nothing's impossible. However, it's hardly unlikely. So, would I like to have him? Of course. I would like to have a lot of players, but the reality is, man, we got to think about from a business perspective. As fans, we get emotionally invested in all this talent, all these skilled players and positions, but we got to really think about it from a business perspective and not emotional. And when you think about what makes business sense, if he's coming too high at a cost, it's no different than us signing any other player out there who's demanding a high, caliber paycheck when we can get two players for the price of one, or just keep building on to what we have through the draft and get some free agents to add on to that doesn't cost mortgage the future.
Okay, very good, very good, very good. Now, I'm gonna just for the sake of not to be on here too long and just spark up the conversation. Now this is just for conversation purposes only. Let's make sure I'm clear on that. I'm not saying this is what I want should happen or it's going to happen. Just for conversational purposes only. Only because Kimo brought it up. Again, the situation that has been all over social media. Conversation only. The Tom Brady, Kimo, Jimmy Garoppolo. I understand. It's just conversational. Now, out of respect for those that do want Tom Brady, and they are Niner fans that do want Tom Brady for their reasoning, and respect to them, let's just play devil's advocate. Let's say we did trade Jimmy Garoppolo to New England for a 3rd and 4th, and we got I'm just saying this is what I'm reading. And we got Tom Brady. Now, if Tom Brady, let's say in 2020, he takes us to the Super Bowl and wins us a Super Bowl, and now we have our 6th title, but yet now we're without a quarterback for the next 2 or 3 years. Is it worth it? As long as we have another championship, and then look for a quarterback?
Hell no.
Okay. So and I'm just bringing this up for discussion. I'm going to get your thoughts, Nate, and I kind of know where you're going to go, and I want to get my thoughts. But just for the fan base, if he does come to us and we do lose Jimmy, because I don't see Jimmy staying and being a backup again to him, so we trade off Jimmy. So now we have Tom Brady. He wins us a Super Bowl this year, or in 2022. But yet after that he's gone. Now we're looking for a new quarterback. Would you guys be okay with it, or just he's not worth a Super Bowl, even if he wins it for us?
I'm not even listening to this. This is ridiculous. Okay. First of all, what makes you think that Tom Brady is better than Jimmy Garoppolo? That's where my issue is. You're going to trade a guy that's worse than another guy, and now you're going to win? No, you're not. Get out of here. You're not going to even get there. Come on.
I agree. I'm just bringing it up for those fans that that do like Tom Brady.
They're dreaming about what Tom Brady used to be.
Yeah.
And you know what? If our organization made that, they are fools.
Listen,
I will lose a lot of confidence in our organization if they make a choice like that. That's a terrible decision.
Now, Pamela Anderson now compared to Pamela Anderson and Baywatch are two different Pamela Andersons. But there are still some people that will still take Pamela Anderson now because they probably never had someone that looked like that at
Hold
now.
on.
So
Hold on. But this is what you're saying. Pamela Anderson today, but if you put her next to, let's say, the younger, hotter thing, are you going to go that way anyway just because of her history?
good point. Good point.
Yeah.
You put her in. Good point. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, Mike?
Well, there are going to also, to add on to what you were saying, there are also people who think that Tom Brady has it still, that he has it within him, simply for the simple fact that had he had his two receivers not taken away, they would have went undefeated. That's what a lot of these New England fans think.
Yeah.
But here's the reality: they didn't play the whole season, and if you look at the two receivers that he had, they have a history of not finishing the whole season. So that whole point that they make is pretty moot. I don't think it has any weight. So we have to deal with reality. We can't go off what is, because the reality is those two have not been available consistently. So
Okay.
considering that, why would we take a guy who needs two receivers who can change any offense, and he's older? He's going to be coming to a brand new system that's totally different than what he's doing in New England. He's been in his system for like 20 years. So he would have to come over here. He's on the way out. He doesn't have much time left. There's no guarantee he's going to win the Super Bowl, number one. So anyone who's saying that, their whole argument is based upon,
Not getting
had
there.
we had him, we would have won
Yeah.
the Super Bowl, which is not guaranteed. Had we had him, we probably would lose the Super Bowl still. So the
Wouldn't
reality
make it.
is, I don't care about having him for one Super Bowl. What we're saying, when I hear people talk about Brady, what that translates to me, and I'm not speaking in German, okay? What it translates to me is, I want to win now because I'm impatient. I have not seen the 49ers go through its ups and downs historically, or I haven't seen a 49er team that has won the Super Bowl. I've only seen them when they were down. I'm a younger fan, probably. So I just want to win so I can say I have one, rather than
Good
say,
points.
stick with the younger guy who has a better season, who has more potential to win multiple Super Bowls in the future. That's what I hear. I just want to win now. Microwave society. People gotta people gotta ask themselves, man,
Very good.
why would you give New England a player that they gave us right back? It makes no sense. It's almost
For
like we just
and
renting Garoppolo for
and
what?
listen to what it's for less. For less
Yeah.
than what we got him for.
Yeah. No. It makes. I like my both of you guys' points, but I like the way Mike brought it up too, where, and I always agreed on this. Jimmy Garoppolo, he can win multiple championships with us. He's getting better. I just don't understand the confusion on why people think he's a bad quarterback. I mean, he's done anything, but he's
Because
done everything.
Hold
I'm
on.
gonna answer that for
Hold
you.
on. Go
Because
ahead.
here's the reality: we got a lot of people who listen to these talking heads, to these so-called experts on TV. You
Deion
know what I mean?
Sanders.
Oh
I,
yes.
they
I
listen to
couldn't
these.
believe he said that.
They
Oh.
Go
listen
ahead,
to
Mike.
these guys on TV who they deem, they confuse their talent with knowledge, and then
Mm.
they give guys knowledge who's never played with talent. It's amazing to me. So either way, they're allowing talking heads to be the representative and spokesperson, and neither one of these guys watch the Niners game like Niner fans do. How many games do they watch every day? These guys come into their argument saying we're a running football team. And then I ask, how does Jimmy Garoppolo have almost 4,000 passing yards, and we're only a one-dimensional running football team? That's our bread and butter. Like, they act like we're not balanced. That's how you know they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So our fans, I don't care about everybody else in the world. I'm only talking about Niner Empire fans. If you're watching these talking heads, you need to start watching your own team's games consistently every game, and you need to see with your own eyes and stop allowing outsiders who only watch us when we're in the playoffs or playing a big Monday night football game to give an opinion. The reality is, we're a balanced team. Jimmy Garoppolo, in his first year as a full-time starter, led us to the Super Bowl. Enough said.
Not to mention that, these people talking about Tom Brady, I don't think they're watching him play because,
Not at all.
so that I can talk bad about him. I watch every one of their games. is I want to be able to talk bad and be able to validate it.
Man, here's what's funny.
He's not better.
When Tom Brady had the Super Bowl against the Rams, he didn't have not one offensive passing touchdown. In fact, he had more interceptions than touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Their only touchdown was from a running back, from their
Sony
running back.
Michel. Sony Michel.
That was it.
Yes.
So it's
But-
not like he had some great performance. Jimmy Garoppolo, here's the funny thing. These critics, these talking heads on TV, majority of them have said things like Jimmy Garoppolo is not ready, he's nervous, blah, blah, blah. You're telling me most of the Super Bowl, until the last 6 minutes, Jimmy Garoppolo looked phenomenal. What are they talking about? The man was up until the late third quarter, he was damn near perfect.
Late fourth.
Yeah, like
18 of 22. With 7 minutes left in the game, he was 18 of 22 for 195 yards, a touchdown, and an interception.
So
that's 100 passer
you're talking
rating.
about
There's
he's
no
completing like almost in the high 80% of his passes.
Yes.
What did he do so bad? Please tell me. People want to talk about his interception. Patrick Mahomes had 2 picks before he had 1.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Good point.
No. He had his 1 first.
Okay. If you want to be technical, he had 1. Garoppolo threw 1, then he threw another. So my point is he had more picks than Garoppolo.
It's still 2-to-1 ratio.
It's still 2-to-1. It doesn't matter when. It's still 2-to-1. That's my point. So Garoppolo's pick was 1 to his 2 before those 6 minutes. And then Garoppolo equaled him in that. So my point is I'm not sitting here worried about this. We're literally overthrow to Sanders away from winning the Super Bowl.
Or a bad choice to throw the ball to George Kittle when Sanders was wide open for a walk-in touchdown and it turned into an offensive pass interference. There's that too.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is people are going to criticize Kyle Shanahan. They're going to criticize Garoppolo. At the end of the day, tell me a San Francisco 49er coach that we had since Harbaugh that would have led us to this point. They can't name one. None of those guys we had prior were better than Kyle Shanahan.
They only lasted for a year each.
These talking heads talk about Kyle Shanahan blew the game. Then tell me how did he didn't make overthrow passes? You know, as Nate pointed out, he didn't miss open Sanders. At the end of the day, there were a lot of factors that contributed to us losing. It wasn't just on it was all this perception
about him
play
calling
bad games. Yeah, like play calling was fine. We just have to execute. Period.
Yep.
Like nobody was saying anything bad about Kyle Shanahan's play calling the whole first 3 quarters. And maybe clock management before halftime was his only criticism. But nobody had nothing to say when Jimmy Garoppolo was 18 for 22, whatever. Nobody had nothing to say about his passing. He wasn't conservative then. He's only conservative when we lose. Had we won, everybody would have been crowning Kyle Shanahan. They would have been like, man, this dude achieved it. He did it. You see what I'm saying?
That Chris Jones block of Garoppolo's pass. Two of them. What does that got to do with Kyle Shanahan's play calling?
Nothing.
Well, this is what these talking heads are swaying people to say is that we should have ran the ball because that's our bread and butter. Had we ran the ball, we would have. They were stacking the situation we wanted.
Yeah, people. When I hear this from fans, they say this out of emotion because they're upset that we lost. Why shouldn't we? Look at what the defense was presenting itself. Listen, Kyle Shanahan made a lot of plays, called a lot of plays. They got us to the Super Bowl. We didn't question that. We were not mad about that. Yet, because we didn't win the Super Bowl, we like to put the blame on someone. We put it on the play calling. Shanahan didn't do anything different. He in my opinion, he didn't make bad calls. I don't think he was being conservative. The defense maybe, but the defense was getting tired too. But
he didn't have nothing to do with that 3rd and 15.
Correct. He didn't. Exactly. So blaming Shanahan, I know people want to put the blame somewhere, but the reality is his play calling got us there. His running the ball, both playoff games got us to the Super Bowl. They were just stacking the front with 8 in the box. Okay, and so if that pass would have been completed instead of being blocked down and we would have got a first down, we would have said that was a genius call. The play it's the same play call. It's just that Chris Jones stepped up, made a play. Certain things they didn't go the Niners' way, but that has nothing to do with play calling. It was poor execution by our players or
Dumb
good
luck.
plays by Kansas
Dumb
City.
luck.
Dumb luck.
Here's
It
the
was dumb
reality,
luck.
man. In that particular game, Kansas City's defense played much better than Green Bay's defense when Green Bay stacked the box. So for us to
Yeah.
say
Green
that
Bay.
we would have ran the ball, for
Yeah.
us to assume that we would have
Good
ran the
point.
ball 6-7 yards every running play, it's no guarantee. There's no
Nope.
guarantee if we don't fumble. There's no guarantee that if we stay running the ball. It's funny, if we ran the ball, that's conservatism in a
Yes.
sense, because guess what it does? It runs
Especially
the
if we don't
clock.
get the first down. Yeah.
If you don't get the first down, Kansas
They
City
should
has
have
more
passed.
time to score, and they did.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with less time to counter. So
Yep.
when we're passing, when them stacking the box, all we have to do is just keep going. Like, we were 18 for 22. 18 for 22, right? Why would
Yeah.
you stop passing if it's working? Like, it's
Yep.
funny when people are saying the run was working. In this particular game, the pass was working because they stacked the box. We
Yeah.
were killing them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Debo
why-
Samuel run was working. The reverse was working.
Yeah.
I'm not
Our
saying
running game was
and I want to make this clear. I'm not saying we should not run the ball. I'm just saying it's absurd to blame
He was playing
our
chess.
Super Bowl loss on Kyle Shanahan. That's
Kyle
ridiculous.
Shanahan
Like,
was playing chess, Mike. He was
The-
Kyle Shanahan was watching what the defense was giving him, and he was kind of reacting to what the defense was playing.
here's
And
my,
at this
here's my
point,
take on it,
it
bro.
was passing the ball was better than running.
The reason why we lost this game is simple. I just believe experience showed its head in the end of the fourth quarter. I believe Kansas City was in the AFC Championship the year before. They had that big game experience. A lot of our players has never even played in a damn playoff game, let alone a Super Bowl. So they came in there. They knew what they had to do in those last few moments, and I think that was a growing lesson, growing pain for us. However, when we win out from here and we get multiple Super Bowls, this will be a lesson that we learn and we'll remember, and we'll learn how to be better from it. You know what I'm saying? So yes, we would have liked to win, but the reality is they got a 22-something year head coach on the other side, and they got a team that majority of their players have seen this big game in that situation before. Most of our players have never played in that situation, and Kyle Shanahan is in his third year as a head coach. So
The only two players that played in the Super Bowl prior, it was Joe Staley and Emmanuel Sanders.
Sherman.
Oh, and Sherman,
Yeah,
excuse
man.
me. Three players out of 53. That's 50 players that never played in the Super Bowl.
yeah, if people really
Think about that.
discredit that and dismiss that our experience, you know what I'm saying? You know, experience did help Kansas City in those situations. If they want to act like that's not an issue because they want to say, oh, we got to Super Bowl with little experience. At the end of the day, Kansas City is better than Green Bay, better than Minnesota, better than Seattle. They're the best team we play in the postseason. You know what I mean? We didn't play Seattle postseason, but
We
played
were
Seattle week
leading by
17.
10 in the fourth quarter to that good team.
Yeah, I mean,
People forget that.
Kansas City has the best quarterback in the NFL. We can agree on that. So it's not like Kansas City was some like team that, you know, we could just bring pressure on and they don't have a quarterback that can make plays. Mahomes has been doing this in the postseason, doing phenomenal things. So
Now, keep in
I just
mind,
feel like
Patrick
they had a
Mahomes
little bit
wasn't
more
playing.
experience, man.
Now,
They
keep
were-
in
they
mind,
were
Patrick
battle-
Mahomes was not playing his key game all three quarters. He was playing like shit because of our defense. He threw 2 interceptions. He hasn't thrown in a long, and I don't think he's thrown an interception in a while. He was off key. He just got hot in the fourth quarter, Mike and Nate.
Right.
And he Patrick Mahomes is a different beast. He's a he's a young prospect that's going to do great. He did some plays and it worked for him. Like the big, what was it? With 20, 30, 40 yard, whatever it was, catch to their receiver, their fast receiver number 10, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
If the game was over, if they would have stopped him right there, the game would have been much over. It was, like I said, fluke that they caught that ball. Patrick Mahomes threw a good play, but for 3 quarters, people need to understand our defense made Patrick Mahomes look ordinary. The way he's been looking through. I mean, look the way he was looking through. And then, real quick, I just want to touch up on this because a lot of Niner fans saying that the Niners defense was celebrating prematurely before winning. Listen, when you're playing a big game like that and you get an interception, there's no necessarily bragging. I mean, they've been doing this all year. All teams go into the red zone and post for pictures and a celebration and a big play. They did it for the play itself, not because they were winning or going to get the Super Bowl. They were doing it for the moment. It didn't work out, but it wasn't about in my opinion, they were celebrating the win. They were celebrating the play that took place at that particular time.
They did it on the previous one too.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
Kansas
just
City did it on both of theirs.
yes.
So what's the
So if they
problem?
would have lost and we would have won, they would have prematurely. It's ridiculous when people bring that up.
Yeah.
Listen, when you're out there, you're playing with a lot of high emotion. You're playing the biggest game of your life. You make a big play, you're gonna celebrate it. That's what they do to build momentum. It broke down in the fourth quarter. The defense was tired or were not. I don't know, whatever it was, inexperience. All those factors take place, and the Kansas City's with experience just took advantage of it, and we lost the game. But people need to realize we were up by 10 with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And unfortunately, we gave up 3 touchdowns to a very good Kansas City quarterback, like Mike said. You know what I mean? And who would have known that their running back would have had over 100 yards rushing on our defense? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But experience is a lot. Kyle Shanahan, you got to understand, just because he was in the Super Bowl a few years ago, it's not the same being in the Super Bowl last year. He wasn't the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, okay? Regardless of what took place with Atlanta, he did not make the calls. It was the head coach there. He was just an offensive coordinator. So when people tell me that, he lost them both, no, he did not lose them both. He lost 1 Super Bowl, but not 2. He was not the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. He could have made a couple of plays that were shut down. Could have been shut down. So people don't know that. So please, for the Niner fans, wherever, don't get mistaken with both Super Bowls. Shanahan lost 1 Super Bowl, and now he's got experience as a head coach for the Niners. I really believe that we can go back to the Super Bowl, and I think if we do go back to the Super Bowl, it'll be a different outcome, mentality-wise, because they'll definitely learn from this. Our main thing is keeping the core players together. If we can do that, I see our hopes, our chances to win another Super Bowl very good. I think our window's 2 to 3 years, in your guys' opinion?
Hey, let me
Open
say
window?
this, Beto, real quick. It's amazing for any Niner fan that's talking about Atlanta Super Bowl and how they lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is, how many big games has Andy Reid not succeeded in as a head coach? It took him 20-something years to win his first Super Bowl as a head coach because he was a coordinator with Green Bay when he won over there. So,
actually, Andy Reid was never a coordinator.
wasn't he with?
He went straight from special teams coach to head coach.
Right, but I heard that he was at Green Bay when they won over there. That's what I heard.
He was special teams.
Because Mike, so Mike Holmgren was the coach. So either way, when he won over there, he wasn't the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, coordinator, special teams.
And he did lose. He did lose when he was head coach with the Eagles. Remember, to the Patriots.
Right, but that's my whole point. As a head coach, he has his first Super Bowl.
Yep.
And it took him over 2 decades to get it. So
and a loss of a Super Bowl too. And
right, and many NFC championships that he has not succeeded in as well. So if it took him almost 2 decades to win his first one as a head coach, and Kyle Shanahan in year 3 has already reached the Super Bowl, hey, I'll take our chances with Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm supporting them both. I'm glad we got them. I'm super excited. And let's get on to the season. The funny thing is, a more experienced Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play better down the stretch in the last 6 minutes next year.
And people need to realize too,
situation again next year.
We're going to have Jalen Hurd back. We're going to have Trent Taylor back. A lot of these players that are hurt are going to be
Jones back.
We're going to have a lot of healthy roster back. So saying that we stay healthy, I mean, there's no guarantee that we can make it back to the Super Bowl. There isn't. But the formula is there. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I look at the schedule this year and I see a lot of, tough games here and there, but I don't see any team really that I'm afraid of, whether we're playing at home or in their town. I'm not afraid of New England and Tom Brady, if he's there or not. I'm not afraid of Dallas. We're playing the NFC. We're playing the NFC East and the AFC East. Okay. The Redskins don't scare me. You know what I mean? I'm more afraid to play the Cardinals than to play anybody from the NFC East.
Man, I ain't
If
afraid
you
of
be
no
honest
damn
with me,
body. I feel like our team is going to be better. I feel like our team is going to be more intact. I don't give a damn who we play. I feel like if we do what we're supposed to do, we can win damn near every football game or most of them.
absolutely with Jimmy
So
Garoppolo.
bring
Yep.
on Arizona next year. All that close game that they did this year, cool. We got tape on them. We can adjust, and we're going to be all right.
We'll play those games with them next year.
Yep. You know, it's hey, listen. People don't realize we went. We swept everybody in our division. We only lost one to a Division 4, which was Seattle. Okay, so a lot of people, you know, and it's funny because again, the media it cracks me up, and they're like, a lot of people are stating that we're not even going to make the playoffs this year. People don't realize we are not the Los Angeles Rams. We did not mortgage our future. Okay, where now that remember their offensive line was old, and they lost a lot of their offensive key players. We're young. We're a young core. We're not. I don't know why they're trying to compare us to the Los Angeles Rams, you know, because they were one and done and they didn't make it back. They're not the same team as we are. They're an old team. We're different. We're young. So I don't understand why people think that we're not going to make it back to the Super Bowl. Not the Super Bowl, the playoffs.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you bring up the Rams because that brings me to another point. I noticed that Jimmy is catching all the heat he's catching. Jared Goff had a Super Bowl for the ages as far as an epic fail, and I didn't hear near the guff I hear about Jimmy.
Yep.
Ain't nobody talking about replacing Goff. Ain't nobody talking about like he needs to be upgraded.
The
Jimmy
Niners
didn't
are
have
hated by the
anything
NFL.
like that. Nothing close. That dude was absolute trash in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
3 points.
They
Do you
didn't even score a
do you
touchdown.
think
Only 3 points.
Do you think a lot of that is warranted though, for the simple fact that Jimmy Garoppolo came in with a lot of buzz or question marks, wondering because he has never really played as a starter versus where Goff was drafted and
Nah,
you know
Goff played like trash and was drafted and expected to do that. Jimmy got a contract signed saying that he would, expectations are based on a contract. Well, Goff has an even better contract than Jimmy right now. So where's the nonsense?
well let me be more clear what I'm saying. When Garoppolo came to us, he was an unknown. His last 5 games that he played, people saw potential. So
Sure.
then, based on that, people were kind of like, "Oh, the expectations might be high." They start hyping him up, right? Whereas
Okay.
Goff really didn't give that great. I mean, he might have had a good season. The Rams had a good expectation, but Goff as an individual, I never got the feeling that he had the same expectation as Garoppolo. And I think that's probably why Garoppolo's
He
getting
did
criticized more because he had a higher expectation.
he didn't have 3 points in the Super Bowl play like trash expectations either, being a first overall pick.
Yep.
Well, yeah, but
Garoppolo is
neither
not on the
Todd Gurley
Let's put it
didn't
this way.
expect to have that type of performance he had either. I mean, it goes across the board. You know what I mean? The Rams
But
the
here's
Rams
the thing.
defense.
And there you go. Another reason why. Why is it that Jimmy's catching so much more guff? Then basically, I'm trying to think of any quarterback that went to a Super Bowl that after the fact was catching the heat that Jimmy's catching right now. I'm having a hard time thinking of any of them. Dan Marino, Jim Kelly, Boomer Esiason. I can't think of them, man. Even when Tom Brady went and failed. No. Nobody. I can't think of one. Makes no sense.
Yeah, the Niners are just hated, man. The NFL hates the Niners. People, the social media hates the Niners. They're just like, it's all storylines for these commentators and social media people talk about Jimmy. Just for the sake of argument, I'd rather take Jimmy G for another 6-7 years and not win a Super Bowl than bring Tom Brady and with the opportunity of winning a Super Bowl. I believe in Jimmy G. I like everything that I've seen in him. I like his ceiling, his high. He's only going to get better. You surround him with more weapons, as a Jalen Hurd, whoever they bring in the draft. You bring more pieces. The ability to win is more with Jimmy G than it is with because remember, if Tom Brady gets hit, it's one bad hit from ending the season, and so I know Niner fans, but like what Nate said earlier, they're going off of what he has done.
Yeah, he's not
That whatever
better.
he's done a couple years ago doesn't help us what he's going to do now.
He's not better.
No, even if you don't believe us, look at the stats. Compare Jimmy G's to Tom Brady's. Tell me what Tom Brady blew us away.
Forget that. Watch the games. I don't care about stats.
Okay,
Watch the games. Watch their play. They're not close.
And for that argument too, don't give. I'm talking about those that like Tom Brady. Don't tell me or sit and argue with us about he didn't have the weapons. Who did Jimmy G really have as well, other than Kittle? Kendrick Bourne stepped up towards the end of the season. Deebo Samuel stepped up. People are acting like Jimmy G had a couple of Jerry Rice on our offense. You know what I mean? We were in the Niners had a good defense. New England had a better defense than us all year, supposedly according to people. So what was their excuse? You know what I mean? So
quarterback wasn't as good.
No, he threw as much as interceptions, or maybe a little bit less, but he wasn't throwing the ball much either. Again, I'd rather keep Jimmy G, and I think he's worth the contract that we paid him. I mean, people need to realize, okay, let's not get spoiled here. 3 years ago, we were at the bottom of the barrel doing nothing. We were not talking about no playoffs. We were talking about no quarterbacks. We were going through traditional quarterback changes. We were going through coaches changes. We were in a dismay. Here comes Lynch. Here comes Shanahan. In their 30 year, ladies and gentlemen, in their 30 year, they take a team that they totally turned around. It's not like Harbaugh. When Harbaugh came in, he took over a good team that was already in place and just made them better. Harbaugh and Kyle Shanahan, Shanahan and Lynch, they brought in and redid the whole roster. The only player, if I'm not mistaken, from the last Super Bowl was Salek, who did not play, and Staley. Okay, 2 players, complete overhaul, and then in the third year, we're in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And here people are bitching about bringing Tom Brady.
Here's some more facts.
It's ridiculous.
Reality, brass tacks. In the 3 years that Kyle Shanahan has been the head coach of the 49ers, with any other quarterback not named Garoppolo, they are 5-20. With Garoppolo, they are 19-5.
Say that again for me. People need to hear that.
Yeah,
people really need to hear that.
Every quarterback they've had over the 3 years that Kyle Shanahan has been head coach, they have won 5 games and lost 20. With Garoppolo at quarterback, they are 19-5. Not including
19-5.
Not including
players.
19-5.
19-5. A complete first season takes his squad to the Super Bowl in his first season as a starter. And people want Tom Brady. It's like,
come back to the pack. Is that what the idea is? Not grow on what this quarterback who's had 26 regular season starts in his career, because he had 2 that I didn't count. He's 21-5 as a start. He had 2 with New England. And so you want to take a guy who's had 26 regular season starts and just throw him away. No matter what progress you've seen from him, no matter how well he's played for you, and you want to go with an old man that can't play ball like he used to.
Because of what he's done in the past, which cannot transcend to anything he can do in the future.
I'm agitated to the point that if they did that, I would probably be calling for the general manager's head. I probably would.
You know what, to be honest with you, Nate, I think John Lynch is too smart. He is too smart.
Let's put it this way.
I just don't see him doing it.
I know I've heard nothing out of them, but support for
High
Jimmy.
praise about Jimmy.
I
They've been
haven't
talking high
heard
praise.
anything about them actually doing it. Now,
Nope.
I think a lot of this shit is flying from the Patriots and Tom Brady's camp
It is.
because he might want that. And I can understand him wanting that. I can understand the Patriots wanting that. I can't understand San Francisco wanting it in any way, shape, or form. And
I
when
don't
you
know if
see
you got.
things, I'm seeing all these things like social media that put things out like what was it? Mayoko put, would you rather have Brady or Garoppolo? Right now, that thing is at 91% Garoppolo, 9% Brady. I was just looking at that a few minutes ago. Even Niner fans overall are far from feeling it, even though there's a few people out there that put it on social media and it gets buzz because of that. But even most of them aren't.
Yeah, and people need to realize,
So
just because Deion Sanders is a Hall of Famer, great corner, did great at his position,
yeah.
does not make him the smartest person in the world. He doesn't understand the Niners. He don't, just because he played for the Niners for 1 year doesn't know he knows everything about the Niners. We know more about the Niners than he does. Trust me, because we follow our team. We know about our team. He doesn't do that. To him to make that statement about Brady, it's just him just talking and trying to make social media people talk about the situation. But deep down inside, he knows that. Put it this way: if Deion Sanders was the owner of the Niners, he would not trade Jimmy away for Tom Brady, even though he made the comments he made. He wouldn't do it.
Yeah, no.
He's saying it because it doesn't cost him anything. It's just his opinion.
Because I think he's trying to get hype. He wants to make some of that Tony Romo and Stephen A. Smith money is what I think. That's what I think.
Yeah, and good for him. He's just throwing but just because these players or ex-players or these people say things, don't take it for their worth, man. You need to understand. I watched the combine. I heard the press conference with John Lynch, and he spoke highly of Jimmy Garoppolo. John Lynch spoke very highly about Jimmy Garoppolo, and so did Kyle Shanahan. Spoke very highly about, and then Kyle Shanahan, and I'm taking him for his word. He said he wants to bring everybody back from last year. I'm not. Well, I understand he's not going to be able to, but just the idea that he wants to, he knows that he can win another Super Bowl or make it to another Super Bowl with the personnel that he had. So he's trying to keep everybody intact. He's even smart enough to realize, I did it. I mean, Jimmy played all year. He didn't get hurt. So it's not like Mullins came in and won us 12 games, 10 games, and here comes Jimmy and messes it up towards the end of the year in the playoffs. And Jimmy played all year. He got us to the Super Bowl. Yes, we were even 10 points away from winning. I mean, 10 points ahead, 6 minutes away from winning the game, and it didn't happen. I don't understand why there's no faith in Jimmy when he got us there in the first place. It's not like we haven't been to the Super Bowl yet. We've been losing every year in the playoffs, and we haven't made it, where maybe with Tom Brady we can make it over the hump and get to the Super Bowl. We got there. Okay, we didn't win, but we got there, right? With Jimmy G. So I don't understand the hate, and I don't understand the lack of respect for Jimmy G, man. And I'm glad that Jimmy G is a very humble kid. Does not allow the media to affect him, man. He's just like, whatever. I just care what my team thinks. He can care less about what the media thinks, and I like about that. But Jimmy G is a better. Listen, New England wants him back for a reason. Okay, well, that's a nice view of your living room. Thank you.
That wasn't intentional.
But so listen, guys, we're gonna keep Jimmy G. I'll be shocked. I really would be shocked if the Niners announce a trade that sends Jimmy to New England for Tom Brady. I really would. To be honest with you, I'm not saying I wouldn't be a Niner, but I'll be in total shock if that happened.
I'm close.
Yeah, I would be close too. I'll be hurt, but I just, John Lynch, man, these guys, what they're building and putting together, what they've done in 3 years, I don't see them going backwards.
Yeah,
I don't think they're the type of people that, like what Mike said earlier, they don't believe in microwaves. They believe in cooking a good meal.
Yeah,
And when you cook a good meal, it takes its time.
They talk all the time about having something special.
Yeah.
And they talk about that locker room, and those guys talk about that locker room like I've never heard a team talk about a locker room like that. And you look at some of these guys, and some of these guys have been in championship locker rooms, a couple of them, and they still say they've never been in a locker room like this one. Why would you want to disrupt that? Tom Brady coming there does not help that. It messes it up.
Nope.
Jimmy is their guy. Think back to when Richard Sherman signed with the Niners. What did he say was the reason why he signed with the Niners?
Jimmy G.
Do you really think that getting rid of him right now is going to really play well in Sherman's mind?
Nope.
Sherman is one of the leaders of this team. Do you really think that's a good idea? Even if he was better, is it a good idea?
Yep. Listen, no. To your point earlier about the locker room, Navarro Bowman was interviewed during the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and he said he was in one of the best locker rooms that he's felt in his time with the Niners, and he got to sense a little bit about the locker room this time around. He says as close as they were back then, and they were close. He has never seen nothing like the closeness of the players now. The unity, the love for one another. There's no I in this. There's no I'm better. There's no blame. They don't blame nobody. They all went together. They lose together. And Navarro Bowman was at all. You saw that by I'm assuming by agreeing with me. You saw that interview.
I did.
And this is Navarro Bowman speaking as a player that has seen both sides. And he said that as good as his squad was in the locker room, he's not talking about talent. He's talking about locker room experience. He's never seen anything like it.
Yeah,
and it's been evident because when
Emmanuel Sanders had the same story.
Yeah, because
Emmanuel
Sanders doesn't want to leave
Super Bowl locker rooms before.
Yes,
no, he doesn't.
Yes, and so they're trying to keep this core unit together. The locker room, and believe me, I know a lot of it has to do with Shanahan, but I believe that locker room is a lot because of John Lynch. John Lynch. You know what? These guys learned their mistake from Reuben Foster. They'll never make it again. They will not they will never bring another player with a character concern again. They learn from him. I really believe they learn from him, and they don't care the talent. They don't care how talented you are. If you have a character concern, you ain't going to be on the Niners. If that was the case, they would have brought Antonio Brown. They didn't bring him in. Okay, because they didn't. Yeah, but besides that, they were not going to disrupt. There's so many players that could have came to the Niners that didn't come. Why? They're good, but they're character concerned. You don't want to bring no type of cancer into that locker room. You don't. You want to keep in that locker room. I mean, you see Kendrick Bourne. I mean, you listen to these players talk about the other players, and I have never heard this. And I've been a Niner fan for a long time. I'm talking about the Jerry Rice, the Joe Montanas, the Jesse Sapolos, all these old time games since I've been watching. I've never seen a locker room or heard of a locker room of the caliber that we have now. And these kids are young. They're not veterans. They're young, and they're acting like they're old. Look at Deebo Samuel. They're all humble. Every kid's humble. It's not easy to carry a locker room like that. They're all playing for each other, man. So the Niners. Listen, Niner fans, the Niners' chances of going to the Super Bowl are great. Nothing's promised, but the ability is there. My concern is just to see what happens in free agency, what happens in the draft, where it's going to kind of show me where we're at. But locker room presence, quarterback is set. We have a receiver. I believe that Deebo Samuel is definitely shooting to that number one receiver. Some people still think he's a number two. The way he's playing, he can definitely be a number one. He's heading that direction. I don't know what's going to happen with what's his name? Dante Pettis. I still believe in him. I still think he can hopefully come back this year and maybe show us that. I mean, he can't get no worse than he was in 2019. Okay,
boy.
see, if anything, he has to get better. How better? I don't know, but I still like the kid. I still think he has potential. We'll see what happens with him. Um, so let me say as we go down to closing, what out of the three players, Eric Armstead, Emmanuel Sanders, or Jimmy Ward? I'm not talking about financial. I'm talking about playing their position. Who will be the one you would want to lose the least from those three? Not based on the salary. I'm talking about just about how important they are to their position. Who will be the least of those three that you would want to lose? And I want to give it up to Mike, and then Nate can go ahead and answer after that.
Okay.
I mean, to me, all three of them, man, are equally important. Um, Sanders certainly gave us an upgrade at the receiver position. Armstead has been a hell of a player on that line, and Ward is very versatile and he can play. But if we would had to give up one, I would say probably Ward. It's not the choice I want to make, but because that if we're talking about drafting the safety, I mean, then we can replace that and keep Armstead on that line and keep Emmanuel Sanders with that core receiver, giving us that experience. So that would be how I look at it.
Okay. What about you, Nate?
Based on the fact I can't tell you what we're going to do in the draft, Armstead is the one that goes because he is replaceable. I'm sorry, you know.
No, it's your opinion. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
when you look at Emmanuel Sanders, there are intangibles that he brings to this team
Okay.
that probably cannot be replaced this year. Can be
Okay.
replaced down the road, but they cannot be replaced right now.
Okay.
And you might be able to get that from Debo along the line. You might be able to get it from Hurd or one of the other guys that we currently have. But I don't think you can get it now. Jimmy
Okay.
Ward was the best player we had back there. Uh, and no, he doesn't make splash plays. But outside of that one play where um, in the Super Bowl, they got his goat there. But outside of that, he was solid all year long. And, is that something I want to give up? Because I think he's going to really be a asset. And I don't think he's going to be a costly asset, really. I think he's going to get a lot less than people think. But I think that those two positions would be harder to replace than, truth be told, his biggest asset to us with Armstead is defensive tackle. We've got a lot of D tackles on our team. He's the three.
Okay. And those are very valid points. A lot of people are saying Armstead. Listen, I'll give you my point. Everybody knows that I'm a big Aaron Armstead advocate fan. I like him from the beginning. I like him when he was drafted from Oregon. I wanted him to be drafted by us. He was. He had a rough start, but I always believed in him. I love that the number 9 that he wore in Oregon and so forth. But he will be the most expensive. If we can come out with a good extension on him that is not going to hurt us in the long run, I'm all for keeping Eric Armstead. But if I had to lose one of the three, I wouldn't want to lose Eric Armstead. But what people don't realize is we have depth on our front line. Again, let's not forget that we have D Ford, we have DJ Jones, DeForest Buckner, and Nick Bosa. And that front line, okay, they can get to the quarterback. So if we have Solomon Thomas, which I'm not comparing him to Eric Armstead one bit, but he can rotate. We have Blair in the rotational, and we probably would add some more people in the draft. Emmanuel Sanders can give us another year to continue to develop Debo Samuel. You know what I mean? And you think about it, guys, to have Emmanuel Sanders as a 1 and Debo as a 2 to start off the season, and he can also develop Hurd as he comes in and plays for us all in the 2020 season. So there's a lot there. And then Jimmy Ward, again, even though he doesn't make a big splash plays, he is solid enough that we can trust him back there in the backfield. So, and not only that, but that also loses. If we let Eric Armstead go or trade him, we can use that money towards Kittle, Buckner, or even bring another free agent. Listen, if we have to make a splash in free agency, I don't think we can or will. But if we do, I'd rather let go of Eric Armstead and use that money and bring in a guard, offensive guard.
Probably do that without him.
Well, yeah, I know, but I would like to bring a guard to take over Pierce. I think Pierce he needs to go. He sucks, in my opinion, and we need to bring a guard to take that place and protect Jimmy. Listen, I forgot where I read, but if you look at the stats of Jimmy G that he has thrown without being touched by a defender, go look up those stats of Jimmy, what he's done when no defender touches him. And he's protected when they call him clean in the pocket. That guy is phenomenal. When he gets touched by a defender because our offensive line doesn't block properly, every good quarterback's gonna make mistakes. But Jimmy G, give him enough time, he will make you pay. He's that good, and we need to protect him. And I'm comfortable with our tackles. I'm comfortable with Thompson, but I just need a replacement for Pearson, or whatever his name is. And so I'd rather, if we let go of Eric Armstead and use that money to bring in a top flight guard, I will be okay with that, in my opinion.
Yeah. I already named my guy there a few weeks back.
For New England, and you named it from New England, and you hate New England.
Yep.
And for you to say that from a New England standpoint, he's the good one. The guy from Detroit's good. The guard from Detroit, I forgot his name.
Joe Thuney is the guy that I would want. That's the name of the guy from New England. He's the left guard there right now.
Yeah, if we get a guard and we keep that offensive line set and protect Jimmy will destroy, especially with Hurd, Emmanuel Sanders, Debo, and Kittle. Jimmy, I mean, again, I challenge people to look at at his stats. I know you guys don't believe in stats, but stats are there for a reason. If you look at his stats when it's a clean pocket, meaning no pressure on Jimmy G, it's phenomenal what he's done.
That is the most consistent stat for a quarterback. When you look at how a guy plays from a clean pocket, that tells you what kind of player he really is. Because when it comes down to it, pressure does, quite a big deal. But the thing is, that kind of varies from year to year. Even with good players, it varies from year to year. It's the clean pocket that tells you all about how good a guy really is. Most of the time, you are going to have a clean pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, because it shows his accuracy. It shows his the way he reads defenses. He does his progressions and on his route, on his defenses. He looks at it, and he's able to see an open player. So you're right. That shows a lot about a quarterback on a clean, on a clean. Because Jimmy G is a passer. He's not a runner. He a lot of times people say, "Wow, why does he hold the ball too long?" Do you know why Jimmy? In my opinion, do you know why Jimmy G holds the ball long? It's because he's looking to make a play at the last second. He's waiting for that receiver to get open. Sometimes he does, sometimes they don't. And he gets sacked. But you can't, man, I hear people like, well, you should have got rid of the ball. He's trying to make a play. He's not trying to make a play with his feet. He's making it with his arm. That's what he does. And so he's holding on to the ball to the last very second because he's waiting for that receiver to get open. And when he delivers a ball, everybody praises him. And when he gets sacked, people get disappointed in Jimmy G. And that's like, you can't have it both ways, man. You know what I mean? So let's get a guard. Let's keep him protected, man. And let's see what Jimmy's going to do. Because I really believe that. Jimmy was what? How many yards was he away from 4,000 yards?
About 23.
23 for 4,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And he had like 26 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. Come on, guys. you guys are look at Jimmy well, not Jimmy the guy from the Bucks 30-30. He had 30 touchdowns but 30
33,
interceptions or
33 and
33
30. Yeah.
30 interceptions. Okay, give me a break. Would you rather have him than Jimmy G? Hell no. You know what I mean? Look at all the quarterbacks. Look at Sam Donald. Look at the guy from the Browns. Look at all these quarterbacks out there that a lot of people think they're very good. And you look at their stats, they're nowhere near as Jimmy G's. So those that hate Jimmy G, hate him all you want. But we have our quarterback. We have our quarterback that's going to take us that has taken us to the Super Bowl and will take us to the Super Bowl again. I do not want to get rid of Jimmy G for anything. You know what I mean? I don't. So unless Brady comes for in trade for Nick Mullins and backs up Jimmy, I'm okay. I'm joking. But what my point being is, let's stop the nonsense with Tom Brady. It's not going to happen. It's all social media. It's just people want to gossip and talk. Something to do in the offseason. Tom Brady's going to go to the Chargers or to the Raiders or something like that, but he won't come to the Niners, and we're not going to send Jimmy G back to New England for any type of draft picks. Before we close this show, and this show was awesome. Everybody was awesome. You guys want to give your last thoughts on tonight? Is there anything on your minds you guys want to say before we call it a night, guys?
Yeah, man, I appreciate everybody chiming in on the show. Stay tuned in, man. We're doing this for the fans, the streets, everybody that's a
Yes.
Niner fan worldwide. And I bought a Garoppolo jersey, damn it. So we better not do anything stupid. I got his jersey. I invested in it, damn it. So I plan on having it for a while. But I just want to say this in closing. I'm not worried about any other team. I'm only focused on our progression. I don't think people understand just because it's hard to get back to the Super Bowl doesn't mean it's impossible. And
Mm-hmm.
just because a lot of teams fail at doing it, most teams are not building for the long term. They're building to win that year. So we can get back. Our probability of getting back to the Super Bowl is much higher than a lot of other teams in the league right now for the simple fact that we're building for the long haul. So I don't understand why people think that we can't win again or we can't get back there. We are going to get back there and we're going to win multiple times. And as long as Garoppolo stays healthy, we will always be a contender to win the Super Bowl.
I agree. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, Boston sucks. We'll start there.
We played them this year.
Yes, we do.
Secondly, I'm looking at some things in the comments. I saw somebody questioning how is Jalen Hurd going to be. He's healthy now, so that's all we can go on. He's going to be ready for OTAs, so that's where we're at with him. Secondly, I saw something about, I guess, injury prone as it pertains to our defensive linemen. Well, I don't know. We'll see. That's a to be continued. Looks like all of them are going to be healthy and ready to go come OTAs as well. But we did have a lot of injuries on that D line. We were really deep early in the year and we became really thin late. So I see that as a valid concern as well. So those are just a couple of things that I happened to notice in the comments that I wanted to address quickly. And I appreciate everybody who came out to listen to us. And hopefully when we're on Friday, right, guys? You guys will come on back.
Absolutely. And remember to follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram at 90749, and also follow us on YouTube. Again, we're trying to build our YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and also hit the notification bell so that you will continue to be notified whenever we do come live on YouTube. So continue to let your friends and family know about our Niner Sickness podcast show on YouTube as we are continue to grow, and we will continue to bring you more information about your beloved 49ers. And as I close, just I wanted to answer a question for one of our viewers. He was talking about the receiver, the free agent receiver that was kicked out from Chicago, Taylor, about possibly coming to the Niners because
Taylor Gabriel.
yeah. Um, we'll see what happens with him. He's I don't know if he a big. I know he played for Kyle Shanahan, but stating with the receivers that we do have now, I don't really see him fitting. But if he's brought in to see what he can do, let him work. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm not opposed to it. And that'll be a topic for another show. Maybe on Friday we can talk more in depth about Taylor Gabriel, and maybe the other running back that from Atlanta that was always paired with Coleman. What's his name? The running back in Atlanta. He won't be back with Atlanta.
Devontae Freeman.
Devontae Freeman. So those are big things we'll talk about on Friday. And so stay tuned for Friday's show. And those will be great topics to talk about. But for everybody that joined us tonight, midweek chat that we just brought up, we appreciate you guys again. Without you guys, we are nothing. This whole show is for you guys and you guys only. We appreciate you guys' input. We appreciate you guys' thoughts and comments. And always feel free to comment. And if you want to be on our show as a guest, you feel that you want to give some insight or your opinion on what the Niners are doing, should do, or going to do, and you want to be our guest, feel free to reach out to me or Nathaniel or Mike. We stay in always contact with each other. So contact one of us. Let us know that you want to be on the show. We'll discuss it amongst ourselves, and we'll definitely bring you in as a guest. So we are looking for guests to come on to bring your opinions about and your thoughts about our 49ers. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Niners Sickness Podcast Show. You guys are amazing. Go Niners, red and gold, until we're dead and cold. We'll see you guys on Friday. We're out. Peace. Good night, gentlemen.